I'm just hanging out with Walter and the crew in Walter's office. And Jeroen, you said earlier you had some cases for us.
Yep.
What have you got for us now?
Well, you heard some tremendous promises in AI and machine learning and automation. And at the same time, in the poll, you saw reluctance in starting to use it. It seems overwhelming. It seems difficult. So the first case that we picked is from Stad Winsen in Germany, a municipality, not too big of a company. And you had a department that was pretty much overwhelmed with the amount of work coming towards them. A typical situation that we see often. And what they did first with TOPdesk is to get all that work that was coming in and channel it towards the rest of the team. Because they had a typical pattern, probably you will recognize it. You have those two experts running around. They seem to know everybody and everything and have an answer to every problem. And everybody knows to find him, and they're overwhelmed with work. So the first thing that they did was redistribute the work to the rest of the team. Free up those experts. And you know what happens when you have an expert and a tool that can automate? They'll solve their own problems. They'll start building the automation to get all this tremendous, repetitive and boring work out of their way. And in that way, they're building up time for themselves and for the colleagues around them. It seems difficult to start somewhere. So what Martin is going to show in a second is how you can start with pre-built examples. We have a pretty awesome library in our support environment of things that other customers have already built. The perfect starting point to start your own automation and learn how that works.
All right, Jeroen, well, that sounds great. Let's go to it. Martin, you're over at Walter's standing desk. Can you show us how these specific features of your tool helped out the city of Winsen?
Thanks for the introduction, Pip. Yes, let me show you what I'm going to do. Let's start with our own TOPdesk, the TOPdesk we use to support you guys. Let's find some action sequences, some automation possibilities within that TOPdesk, download them and put them in your own TOPdesk. So what you see right now is the TOPdesk we use to support you guys. So live from TOPdesk, this is what I'm searching for, and I'm looking for an action sequence and how it works, basically. So we click on it, and we see an example in that TOPdesk to illustrate how we can use an action sequence. If you scroll down a bit more, then you see free-to-use examples, and this is what Jeroen mentioned. There are a sheer amount of examples in TOPdesk for you to use, and let's pick one to basically download and automate in my TOPdesk. So this is an action sequence about setting a status automatically. I skipped all the explanation. Let's download the top one. And you see it already downloading in my bar in this case. So I'll switch to a local TOPdesk we have, especially for this one with an action sequence already open, and let's build a new one. So the action sequence, in this case, setting a status for a first line incident. And there it is. This is basically your starting screen. You can build any action sequence from here. But in this case, we're going to download or import the downloaded one. If you download it, it's already there. You see I've tested it before. And basically what I did is automating everything about this status, downloaded it from TOPdesk. We save it in our own TOPdesk, and there you go. This is what in TOPdesk does. And if you switch to our marketplace, then you can see a lot more automation possible. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Martin, for the demo. I think now we know how to do it. Jeroen, what can you tell us about the results that you saw in Winsen City?
Well, we heard talking about the human aspect, of course, in service. And what Stad Winsen really achieved here is that they saved time on repetitive work. And because of that, the experts had more attention and more time to help those customers that really needed the human interaction there. So the resolution time went down, but also the customer experience really improved in that. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Walter, I want to come to you for your take in a second, but first we've got a question from the audience. Do you think the human side of the service desk is still necessary now that we've adapted to self-service due to the COVID pandemic? I guess that's for all three of you, but I'm looking at the fellow whose office this is.
Can you repeat the question, please? It was a bit long, to be honest.
Of course I can repeat the question. Let me just remind myself of what it was. Oh, now I remember. Do you think the human side of the service desk is even necessary anymore now that we've adapted to self-service due to the COVID pandemic?
Now I really get the question. Thank you.
That makes two of us.
I would say, yeah, the human side is very important now, because now you can't rely on existing procedures or regulations that you have. You have to adapt. That means creativity, and that means human side of things. On top of that, people are a bit stressed out in the pandemic, right? How does it work? Where do we go? Just a little human sensitivity there just add it into the mix, brings you a long way. So I would vote for yes.
If the human can't do it, we could get a pigeon to look at the service.
That makes sense. Where can I hire them?
You got to ask Hannah that. I want to let folks know that you can send us your questions via the chat tab. That's what the chat tab is for. And someone chat tabbed a question for you, Martin. Here's your question. Can clients be helped proactively without reaching the service desk employees?
I would say yes.
The answer is yes. It's an easy one. Yes, duh. No, can you elaborate?
I would say for the experts, but yes, a chat can help, of course. But if you automate it a bit more than the chat bot, there are so many options possible. I would recommend to start engagement with colleagues and see what it's all about.
Great. So start with your colleagues and then move forward from there. I love it. Walter, can you any final thoughts? Anything to add to all this before we go?
Now, I think this discussion that we had this hour was very interesting. What to do with technology, right? And I think what was repeatedly said, and I think is very true, you should stop firefighting, and most folks are doing that, and it's rightfully so because pandemic you need to do stuff, and you need to think bigger. I heard it over and over again, and then take small steps. What I like to add to that is when you get to those small improvement steps, instead of firefighting, the fun typically starts. Then you see things improving, you see people smiling more, your customers will be smiling, and then it goes up and up and up. But you have to find that way up. That's the hard part.
And you got to say fighting the fires is the least fun thing there is.
That's the least fun.
All right. I want to say thank you to you three, and of course, thank you for your insightful questions.